In this video, I'll show how you can open up a house located in the countryside, and then work out some basic interior walling. The model will not require a custom TXT. I am not going to make custom windows, but it is fairly similar to doors. I am working in meters as scene units. It can help to turn on viewport clipping to zoom in closer to models. I'll bring up the Snaps interface as I'll be using it a lot. If you are on version 2021 or above, for GTA materials to work, set to Max Legacy and restart 3ds Max. Start by importing sw_bigburb_03.dff from gta3.img. Auto Smooth is fine as most world objects don't use any smoothing anyway. Import Mail01 with the same settings. Name object as PED and double-click the root bone and delete to remove all the bones. We can use this model to reference scale when in doubt. Set viewport display to facets. Select the roof polygons and hide selection. This will make it easier when we move on to the interior. Detach the door and name it Door. Create a box at the doorframe and make it 2.3 meters tall and same thickness as the doorway. Name it Cutter Box. Select every polygon surrounding the box, and enable snaps. Face up so that there's less geometry behind the door to interfere with the cut tool. Cut around the box. Delete the area that you cut. This is where the new door will be. Select the upper vertices of the door. With axis constraints enabled, pull the Z-axis up and snap at the box's top vertex. Alt-Q to isolate selection. You will be using this shortcut a lot. Add an Edit Poly modifier and remove the triangle. Select the side edges and connect once. Enable Preserve UV in Edit Poly modifier and pull the edge down below the glass. Add an Unwrap UVW modifier and press 1 for vertex mode. Pull the UV edge down just below the door handle. Add a shell modifier and set outer amount to 0.12. Set edge mapping to copy. Move the pivot to bottom left corner in the center. Move the door into the doorframe. Do the same for the other door, and move the door there too. Snap the cutter box to the left side of the garage door. Select the right side of the doorframe, and with Vertex Snap and Preserve UV enabled, move the edge onto the reference box. You can then cut out the hole and move the door there. Let's start blocking out the interior. Create a line and with vertex snap, click each vertex above the cement block to create your line. At the front of the house near the porch, there's a vertical line. Snap to that to create an extra point. Close the shape when possible. Name it house_int. Add an extrude modifier set to 3 meters. Do not use any of the cap options. Add an edit poly modifier and select the top edges closest to the front of the house, back of the house, and the side of the house. Shift pull the Z-axis up and drop it at the adjacent vertex of the exterior mesh. Right-click collapse with the edges selected. At the side of the house near the grass, connect the two vertical edges. With axis constraints, drag the Y-axis of the edge and drop at the corner of the exterior mesh. Select the southern triangle edges and extrude with Shift while dragging. Snap to the edge you created few moments ago. Extrude again and snap at the end of the house. At this part of the ceiling near the porch, connect the edges. Select the outer vertex and snap it to the inner vertex to create a triangular shape in the ceiling. At the third part of the ceiling, extrude out and snap to the corner of the interior. Extrude again and snap to the triangular shape that you made moments ago. Snap the outer vertices of the extruded edge to the original edge, so that just the topmost vertex remains. Weld all vertices at a threshold of 0.001 to rebind the mesh. Flip the normals. Add a shell modifier with a value of 0.22, which is the offset of the door. And enable straighten corners. Select edges, and select interfaces. Add an edit poly modifier and delete the selection as those faces are not necessary. Enable backface culling to better see what you are doing. This hides the backsides of the polygons. Borders select the bottom of the interior and cap. Move the polygon up with axis constraints and snap to the bottom of the door so that they both align. Repeat the interior building process for the garage. Name it garage_int. Create a box that covers the garage gate. Add some length to it. Add a ProBoolean modifier to your garage interior and set to subtraction and cookie. In the bottom, set it to remove only invisible edges. Delete the box. Detach the garage gate polygons. Name it garage_gate. Add a shell modifier and set width to 0.12. Center pivot to the model. Enable angle snap and rotate -70 degrees. Move it up so that it only just intersects the gate opening. Select the gate opening bit of the interior walls and snap the Y-axis to the garage opening. Grab the box that is the size of the door and align it to the garage door. Move it a bit into the garage so that it intersects the interior walls. Convert the garage interior to ProBoolean, set to subtraction and cookie, and to only remove invisible edges. Do the same with the interior walls of the primary building. The balcony Boolean operation has left some bloated vertices in the mesh, but we can clean that up later. Add some floor to the garage interior by shift extruding the bottom edges by the door and snap to the start of the garage entry. Bridge the small gap. Snap the vertices to both ends and weld. Extrude again and snap to the other side of the entry. And finally, bridge the remaining edges. Finally, weld the vertices. Target weld the vertex in the rear into the corner. Flip all polygons and exit out of backface culling mode. Cut the end of the garage from the ceiling down to the edge in the ground. Weld the resulting vertices so that the whole mesh is bound together. Flip polygons back to normal and enable backface culling. Let's fix the door frames. Select the 4 frame edges and with axis constraints shift click the X-axis and drop at the exterior frame. For the house doors, first merge the unnecessary edges below the doorframe and vertices in the center of the doorframe. Alt-Q to isolate selection. There is no need to extrude the bottom edge as the exterior already has floor made for us. You do want to snap the exterior floor to the interior floor though, as there is a small gap. Remove the side and top bits of the house exterior doorframe and extrude your own using the interior walls. Head over to Primeside website and filter by household items and GTA SA. The other interior categories also contain useful items. You can import those items the same way as you imported your house DFF earlier. Most of the items are located in GTA_int.img. I have already imported and positioned my interior objects. I have uploaded the furniture as an IPL to Pastebin, which you can find in the video description, along with a timestamp in this video that shows how to import the IPL. You will need to set up a DFF path to GTA interior models though. These objects are for a kitchen, a living room and a bedroom. You can easily position them the same way you used axis constraints and vertex snap earlier. When duplicating these objects, it is very important that you edit their name to be the same as their original. The Select and Place tool can also be of good help. Let's start tweaking the kitchen. Create a box at the back side of the counter. Click a polygon and Ctrl-I to invert and delete. Make sure the polygon is light red. Extrude its side with axis constraints and cover the side of the counter. Change the top edge's height to 1.9 meters. Add a shell modifier and set its outer amount to 0.06 and enable straighten corners. Deselect the polygons. Let's move on to the living room. Create a box and zero it out in x-axis, and make it long enough to be adjacent to the chair. I have made it 3.2 meter long and 0.12 meter wide. Height doesn't matter, but I'll keep it 3 meters for now. Axis constrain it to the wall facing the entrance of the house. Name it living_wall. Extrude the side 0.12 meter toward the other end of the house. Click the plus icon and extrude toward the living room. Move the polygon 0.2 meter with F12 and x-axis. Extrude again, and plus icon and extrude back towards the other end of the room. Move the extruded polygon 2.5 meter in y-axis. Extrude and extrude again and point it towards the living room. Constrain it to the living room wall to close off the room. Select the wall vertices that is adjacent to the TV unit, and snap them to the back of the TV unit using axis constraints. Move the top faces of the wall up way above the ceiling and convert to Boolean. Set to subtraction and cookie and pick the ceiling as target. Set to remove invisible edges. Create a box snap to the front porch door. Increase height by 0.12, width by 0.24 and set length to 0.18. Add slice modifier set to Y. Reduce y-axis of slice plane by 0.06. Add another slice modifier and increase y-axis by 0.06. Add edit poly. Press 2 for edge selection. Shift-click poly selection and delete the polygons. The reason we're deleting them is they would cause Z fighting in the door frames. Create another box snap to the door. Make the length 0.18. Isolate the box and the doorframe details. Remove the frame bottom faces. Use the cut tool to remove the inner part of the doorframe details, and the box to help guide the cut positions. After cutting one side, hide one of the sides to make it easier to perform the cut. Target weld the bloated vertices. Delete the box. Extrude the inside after cutting so that it covers the doorframe correctly. And isolate when finished and align the pivot to the door pivot. This will make it easy to copy and align to other doorways. Set material ID to 14. Name it doorframe_detail. Make the cutter box a length of 0.12. Copy the doorframe detail and align to the cutter box, which you should make a length of 0.2 afterwards. And align the two to the wall that you just made. Use the cutter box for a Boolean subtraction on the wall. Set to remove invisible edges. Let's move on to the bedroom. Create a box with a length of 0.12, width of 3.9 and height of 3. Move it to 7.2 in y-axis. Snap it to the wall. Name it bed_wall. Extrude the other side by 0.12. Select the face that points towards the bed and extrude by 0.12. Move it to 9.3 in y-axis. Extrude by 0.12. Select the balcony facing polygon and extrude by 0.12. Align to the wall. Clone the door model and frame, and align those and the cutter box to the wall. I would like the door somewhere near the balcony door, but still offset a bit so there's room between the two doors. Rename the kitchen counter cover to kitchen_counter. This helps us with scene management. Boolean subtract the cutter box and remove invisible edges. Move all top faces up past the ceiling and convert to ProBoolean. Set to subtraction and cookie and pick the ceiling as target. Set to only remove invisible edges. Select the doorframe detail at the house front and delete the exterior side. Copy and align it to the interior side of the balcony door and the interior side of the garage door. Let's prepare the interior for texturing. Add a slice modifier to the main interior and the separate walls. Set to refine mesh. I know I want it to slice exactly 1.3 meters or 130 centimeters above the floor. Click Align to Polygon and select the floor polygon. Press 1 and F12 and type 1.3 meters in the Z-coordinate field. Select the floor and set its material ID to 15. Ctrl-I to invert and set the rest to ID 14. Set kitchen wall to ID 16. Set the separate walls to ID 14. Drag the brick and floorboard textures into your material editor. Set their diffuse color to white. Grab the exterior model's multi-sub-object material. Set quantity to 16. Drag the other material spheres into number 15 and 16 as copies. Apply material to the interior elements. Add a UVW map set to box and 6 by 8 in tiling. These values work fine for the floor and ceiling. To tweak the walls, select the floor, click Grow twice. Select the triangular ceiling walls and deselect the floor. Select the separate walls and doorframe details as well. Add a UVW X-form modifier to all objects and set to 1.5 and 0.5. Add Edit Poly and deselect the polygons. Press Alt-Q to isolate all the interior elements. Add a Vertex Paint modifier and name it Prelight Base. Change the color to a value of 140 and apply. Add another to just the main interior and name it floor. Tick Ignore Backfacing and select the floor polygon. Change the color to Hue 22, Saturation 70, Value 120 and apply. Add another to just the main interior and name it Kitchen Brick. Tick Ignore Backfacing and select the brick polygons. Change the saturation to 90 and apply. Add another to just the top of the walls, ceiling and top of the separate walls, and name it Walls Top and Ceiling. Press Alt W and focus an orthographic viewport and select the top faces. In your main view, ignore backfacing and deselect the brick. Change color to Hue 26, Saturation 82, Value 140 and apply. Add another to the main interior, separate walls and doorframe details and name it Walls Bottom and Doorframes. Go to the other view and select Without Backfacing. Select just the lower part of the wall polygons. Go back to your old view. Tick Ignore Backfacing and deselect the bricks and floor. Set saturation to 0 and value to 150 and apply. Add another vertex paint modifier and name it Doorframe Fixes. Select the insides of the doorframes that were not selected. Select also the doorframes and select all their polygons as not all were selected before, and reapply the color. Add a smooth modifier and another vertex paint modifier to all interior objects. Name it Prelight Hard Shading. Bake your scene shading into vertex colors. Set blending mode to overlay. With the same vertex paint modifier selected, select the floor and erase the vertex colors. Select the overexposed ceiling and erase by 75% opacity. With all objects selected, add a channel info modifier and transfer all the vertex color channel data into the illumination channels. Add another vertex paint modifier to all interior elements set to illumination and add a black color with 50% opacity and apply. This ensures we get the same colors during nighttime, though with a slightly darker tone. You could also manipulate the exterior doorframe UVs and vertex colors to match the surrounding exterior planks, but I'm fine with the small difference in this video. Exit out of isolated mode with Alt Q. Select the cover of the kitchen counter and apply a gray standard material. Change the color value to 90. Bake scene shading into vertex colors, and copy-paste the modifier and change to vertex illumination in the second modifier. Change the material color to white and attach to the interior. The house interior is now done for the most part. You could optimize it by removing polygons that can't be seen, such as the bottom of walls. I am going to leave the empty space between the bedroom and living room as it may be used in future videos, but use your own imagination and create something there yourself if you would like. Let's finish up the garage interior. Enable select by angle of 45 in Edit Poly and click the floor. Set Material ID to 6. Control I and set ID to 5. Select the ceiling and set ID 14. Apply the multi-subobject material to garage interior. Add a UVW map set to box. 2. Select the ceiling polygons and add a UVW X-form set to 2. Add a subdivide modifier set to a size of 3 meters. This setting depends on your scene units. Display vertex illumination channel on both your garage interior, the doorframe detail, and the exterior to see what color of lighting may be needed for the garage interior. Create an Omni light and position it roughly at XYZ. -12.2, 10.84, 3. Assign a color of hue 99, saturation 49, value 140. Far attenuation with a start of 2.9 and end of 5.8. With the garage interior and door frame selected, add a vertex paint modifier set to vertex illumination, lighting only, color by face, and assign. Copy the light color and paste into the doorframe color. Set opacity to 15 and apply. Let's also create a pre-light for the day. Display vertex color channel. Set light saturation to 0 and value to 190. Create a copy of the light. Position it at -12.2, 7, 1. This light acts as direct lighting, whereas the one inside the interior acts as indirect lighting when light hits the surface and reflects onto other surfaces. Let's start working on collisions. We do not need collisions for the doorframe details. Select everything and right-click Object Properties. Untoggle Show Frozen in Gray, and then freeze them. Import the collision. Go into Poly Selection in the collision mesh and delete isolated vertices, as there is a cloud of vertices spread outside of the object. The collision file contains mostly boxes, and unfortunately the larger ones are not much use for us. Delete the 3 large boxes used for the garage and interior. The rest can be kept. Create a line and change snap settings to snap to frozen objects. Trace around the exterior part of the house. Name it house_ext_call. Add an extrude modifier set to 3.5 meters. At the corner of the front porch, move up the top vertex that's positioned below the other vertices. Unfreeze and align the cutter object, and perform a cookie cut on both door entrances. Repeat the same for the garage exterior. Extrude 3 meters and delete the entrance polygon. Select the two front-facing polygons and their interior sides. And add a slice modifier. Snap to the top of the garage entrance. Bridge the top. Collapse the top face on X-axis and snap to the top of the exterior front-facing polygon. Remove the overlapping triangle. Align the cutter box to the door. Add 0.1 to the height of the cutter box, and move it down -0.1 in height position. Do a Boolean cookie operation to remove the door. Revert the changes made to the cutter box. Copy the garage interior and name it garage_in_call. Remove the subdivide modifier. Copy the house interior and walls and remove the slice modifiers. Add _call affix to their names. Unfreeze them. Apply a collision material with a brightness value of 100 to the collision elements you have designed. Add the collision mesh to selection and Alt-Q to isolate them. Attach the new collision objects back to the collision mesh. Fix both exterior sides of the garage entrance near the balcony. There are two ground vertices that are not welded to the garage wall. Weld those. There are a few small gaps in the collision model, but they also exist in the base game. Bridge the ground between the garage and the driveway. And the floor at the balcony and front porch. Weld all vertices at 0.001. Weld also the broken vertices at the front porch by adjusting the threshold a little. Export the collision mesh along with its primitive boxes. Hide the collisions and unfreeze everything. Attach the garage gate to the exterior. Create a copy of your garage interior, house interior, separate walls, door frame details, and the exterior model. It's always a good idea to keep a backup of things. Make a group for the backups and hide the group. Grab the interior multi-material and apply it to the exterior, garage, the separate walls, and the door frame details. Now that you have added new material IDs to only the interior, attach the interior elements to the house. Export DFF. Roof polygons that were hidden is also exported. Prepare the door for exporting. Copy and move the door to 0, 0, 0. Create a box around the door and name it door_call. And two spheres that intersects the right side of the door, which is the side that the player needs to hit for the door to open. I made them 0.32 in radius. Export collision. Export DFF. Replace door ID 1491. Move the exported files into a subfolder to better see what you are dealing with. Create a copy of the house TXT and remove every texture except for the door texture. Before you can export your mapping in version 2023 or above using Goldfish's scripts, you will need to edit the eMap Toolmax script. Remove the string shown and save. If this is your first time using the map scripts, you will also need to follow the instructions at the timestamp shown on that video. Link your doors and furniture to the exterior model. In my case, I have my furniture in a group. In Layer Explorer, create a new active layer. Open Map.io. Set up the path to your DFF files. You can learn more about extracting DFF files in this video. Click Fake Import to import planar meshes. Click Import IPL. Locate your non-readable IPL folder that you extracted following the Extracting GTA SA Assets guide. Import country e_stream12.ipl. Locate the .dat file it requests, which is located in GTA installation folder, and then the data folder. Select all of the layer's contents. Locate the name corresponding to our model in the bottom. Control-click that and delete. Select the real house and use the Align tool to align to the plane that you just imported. Align XYZ for positions and orientation for rotations. Alternatively, download my decompiled IPL files in video description, or decompile it yourself. And you'll be able to paste the IPL coordinates into your object in 3ds Max easily. Export the furniture, doors and house using EMAP tool. Set ID start to 0. Most settings can be left default. Set TXT name to TXT. Export IPL. With the IPL open in any text editor, start referencing Prineside.com with the model names in the IPL, and replace the incorrect IDs with the ones from Prineside. The process can be sped up by using a different code editor, or by Windows utility scripts. Add, inst, and end to the top and bottom of the text. When finished, convert the IPL to .lua. Create a folder in your MTA resources directory and add the resource files downloaded from the map converter. Add this string of text in the bottom of the .lua script to remove the original house and its LOD from the map. Everything is now ready to be loaded into MTA. You can warp yourself to the house by typing /setpos2242 -127 26.